Welcome everyone to the PTO Champs Challenge Daytona preview show. Before we get stuck in, please let us know that you can hear me okay. I hate not being able to have someone on the other end giving me a thumbs up, letting us know that you can hear us. So if you can just leave a comment, let us know that the sound is a-okay. We've got some people waiting in the wings that we're going to bring on the show in just a few seconds. But like I say, I am going to wait until I get a comment to let me know that you can indeed hear me okay. Jordan has just checked in and she said that you can indeed, which is fantastic. Hey, we've got Lauren Brandon tuning in live from Daytona, which is fantastic. And now everyone's going crazy. Calm down, everyone. Let me just bring the comments up here. Okay, Kim Goulet, she can hear me as well. Thank you so much. Folks, we have an exciting show today. We've got Laura Siddall joining me in just a few seconds on that side of me. She is live from Challenge Daytona, the PTO Championships. I love it when someone says they can hear me loud and clear. That is pretty much standard. So Sid is going to be giving us some insights into what's been happening this week. And of course, she is our race editor, race expert. She knows all the women in this field. I think she's probably raced every single one of them, maybe bar one or two. And she is definitely the expert on this race. No pressure, Sid, whatsoever. So let's get her on the show as we talk you through what is going to be happening at the PTO Champs in Challenge Daytona. Sid, welcome to the show. Can we hear you?
I can hear you guys. It is a little bit broken. I'm a bit worried that you can't hear me or you can't see me, but hopefully it's all good.
I think we're good. I can hear you. And if it just ends up being you and I talking about triathlon for half an hour, then so be it.
Yep, all good. And I apologize. So when we decided to do this, I thought, yeah, I'll stay at the NASCAR track. You'll have a beautiful view of the track behind me. And then I realized it's 6 p.m. at night here and it's pitch black. But if you want to see the view behind me, tune in to watch Bob Babbitt's show, because I'm actually sitting in Bob Babbitt's office, studio, whatever you want to call it. He doesn't know. I hope he doesn't watch this. But yeah, basically the NASCAR track's behind me. So it's I'm in what's called the 500 Club, or the Daytona 500 Club. Just outside is like where the victory lane is, where all the winners come, where there'll be the presentation to the winners for our race as well. Again, there's the massive stand that you probably see on the coverage, or you'll see maybe on the light on this show tonight. And behind me is kind of the fan zone where the expo is going to be, and this building's at the moment filled out with all the media, the PTO media, the NASCAR media, some of those guys. We've just had the pro briefing downstairs in a massive room, so everyone was 2 meters apart. I will say I'm not wearing my mask now because I'm in a room on my own, but I have been wearing it all the time. So just to I also have, I don't know if you can see, but clipped on my jeans is my hand sanitizer that I carry around with me. There's a few other cool things. A lot of the door handles have got this antibacterial fabric on them that's kind of a self-cleaning thing, which is pretty cool, as well as obviously just all those precautions that we're putting in place to try and keep everyone as safe as possible.
It sounds like it's been pretty stringent. What the athletes and I guess everyone else involved, including yourself, have had to go through to even get to Challenge Daytona.
Yeah, I mean, it's stringent, but it's what we work with this year. So everyone had to have a negative COVID PCR test before they arrived, so before they set off traveling. And then on arrival, they've all gone through, and this is the athlete and their chaperone or partners or whatever you want to call, who they've come with. They've all gone through a rapid COVID test. Everything's been negative so far, which is great. Touch wood. Haven't spoken too soon. Obviously, all the support crews, anyone working in close contacts or closer contact, I should say, so the media, those guys have all had those rapid tests as well. The athletes have also been had the opportunity to do a dry blood sample test, which is it was voluntary. It was not a requirement, but this is looking at some of the anti-doping protocols that the PTO might be looking to bring in next year. And actually, it's been used by WADA this year with COVID and lockdown. So the athletes have had a chance to do that. There will be anti-doping, obviously, control after the race. And yeah, everyone, masks mandatory if we're inside or if you're in cars with anyone, or I should say encouraged. Like, it's, everyone's coming from different places in the world and different rules. And in Florida, it isn't mandatory unless you are going into a shop and things and there are signs. But I certainly, the race is certainly pushing out that everyone wears their masks inside the hotels, outside, obviously, when they're on the track training and stuff that you don't need to. Like I said, hand sanitizer all over the place. And then if anybody starts to feel ill or has any symptoms, they can get another rapid test straight away.
Yeah, wow. And
also there is tomorrow, which is not tomorrow, Saturday. Well, it is tomorrow for you guys. Saturday is the opportunity for any athlete traveling home after the race that needs a requirement of a PCR test before they can re-enter their home country. They can come and get that done on Saturday within the 72 hours before they then travel home.
Oh, wow. So they don't have to pay for that? That's all covered, or? Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's covered. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And like you say, it is stringent, but this is the only way this event would get off the ground. So, yeah, we are all for it.
Oh, sorry, say that again, Steph. You were just going in and out.
That's all right. I was just saying it's stringent, but it's protocols that we need in place for this event to get off the ground. So we are absolutely all for it. We do have, in about 5 minutes, we're going to have Flora Duffy joining us. But before we do that, you actually have spent a little bit of time on the racetrack here, and we've got some video footage, which gives people a bit of an idea of just how steep that bank gets at the corners. So we're going to throw that up on screen, and then I'm going to get you to talk us through a bit more of the course and that insane racetrack. So let's cross to that live now. Not live, that's a lie. It was pre-recorded.
Last year.
Just if you could quickly just throw your helmet on and jump on the bike, Sid, that'd be great.
This is just a little bit mental. Look at that.
Probably not even. It's incredible how much it banks without you realizing. And this isn't even,
We're coming up to the banks. That was 18 degrees, these are 31.
And I heard that the way they built them was just until the bulldozer fell over. Or is that like an urban myth
No, I
around the
think
race
that was a
course?
myth. Because you should actually stop on the bank.
Oh yeah. On this next corner, I was on the bike this morning, I was like, oh, I'll just go up a little bit at the start of the corner. And then he banked pretty quickly, and I was like, no, I'm coming down.
It's a bit steep. All right, Sid. I mean, I think your words were, it's a bit steep. Talk me through riding on that course.
Yeah. So the Daytona track, it's a 4 kilometer loop, and the banks at the two ends are at 31 degrees, and then the banking on the straights goes up to 18 degrees. So yeah, it's pretty steep. I will say though, for the race, you do not have to go anywhere near the banking. You actually race on the flat, just inside where the banking starts. So a few of the athletes have kind of tested out going up the banking. You know, some are thinking maybe it's a tactic to then slingshot them around some of the other competitors and some of the other women. Personally, I wouldn't be going anywhere near it. It's a little bit different going on a banking in a car than a bicycle. And they're not really made with a nice, smooth sort of ramp up into the bike. So for a bike. But yeah, it's just amazing. You really don't get the size of the place until you get here. You know, there were lots of comments before leading up into it about, you know, how are they going to control the 20-meter rule, and is it going to get really congested? Like, it's a 4K loop. It's flipping enormous. Like, even with all the pros out on this course, like the last few days when they've been able to come out and practice, you're like, you know, there's so small dots around the whole place. It's it's pretty impressive. I mean, for the course in general, I'll go through that quickly. So the lake actually sits in the middle of the racetrack. So there's a lake in the middle. Lake Lloyd is inside the track, and it's a deep water start. It's a two 1K loops with an Aussie exit. So that's, again, it's all about bringing the fans closer to the action by seeing the athletes come out the water as well. I'm just reading. Suze was looking for the course online, couldn't seem to find it. It is on the Challenge Daytona website, because I did just go on and have a look to check I was going to talk about the right stuff. But the swim, like I said, so it's 2 1K loops inside. They then come out, get onto their bikes, and it's a 20 lap. It's 20 laps around the course. People think, you know, how do they keep count? Well, they're going to have a lap counter for you, a big electronic board that goes on the back straight. So as the athletes go past the board, it flashes up their name. It tells them what lap they are on as well. They'll also be able to see the athletes that are sort of ahead of them and what lap they are, if they're ahead or behind. And to me, I raced last year. I think we did 18 laps around, or maybe a bit more. And you think it might get boring. It really doesn't get boring. And I think with the type of race we're going to have and the caliber of athletes, there's going to be so much going on. And then they come off the bike after those 20 laps, and T2 is right kind of in front of the grandstand, and they've got a 4-lap run course. And again, it's sort of mainly around the track. There's a little bit that comes inside of the track, but mainly on the track itself. The good thing about this race as well is that the women start at 10 a.m. and they have obviously the full race on their own. No other waves around them. They'll be on the track, they'll be on the run, and they're probably, actually, because this race is going to be pretty fast, they'll probably even be totally finished, or at least the majority of the top women will be finished before the men even start at 2 o'clock. So that's really exciting to see, like, the women getting their own race with no interference and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. At first, I didn't realize that the women started that much in front of the men. So yeah, it's super exciting. I don't think we've ever seen racing quite like that, or that kind of setup. Sid, I want to start talking about some of the women, but we're going to bring on our special guest, Flora. Let's bring her on for about 10 minutes. And then we're going to come back, because Sid has spent a lot of time on this preview and previewed every single athlete on the start line. So we're going to test out her knowledge after we catch up with Flora. So let me see if I can get Flora up onto the screen. Give me 1 second, folks. Flora, I hope you can hear us. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you.
And can you hear Sid okay? Sid, talk.
I could hear Flora then, so hopefully she can hear me.
Yep, I can hear you both.
Excellent. Flora, how are you doing? I know obviously you'd love to be in the mix at this race at the moment, but what's held you up from getting to Challenge Daytona, the PTO Champs?
Yeah, so I'm back here in Boulder, Colorado, at my house here, which it took me a while to get back here. 2020, as we all know, has been a crazy year. I was actually recently in Girona, Spain. Actually, with Laura was there. We were both sort of like, "Yep, we're still here." Both of us were trying to get to the US, but yeah, it wasn't easy. But yeah, sort of various things stopped me from getting to the start line in Daytona. Pretty much mostly kind of my body just sort of said, nope, it's just not going to happen. It's one race too far this year, which is quite disappointing because I was really looking forward to racing and challenging myself over that distance and against that caliber of a field. And yeah, it was just really exciting and something that sort of out of my normal realm. And so yeah, sort of skills that I kind of still need to learn and develop. But yeah, it just didn't work out for me this year, but hopefully next year I can be there and be at a few other long course races.
And I feel like I mean we and I'm talking about the greater Witsup, we and all of our followers and friends of Witsup, we're big fans of Flora Duffy, and we can't, I mean, we're excited to see you race over the 70.3 earlier this year, but you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier, and you found the bike, being in that TT position for quite a long time, it was tough. And at this race, 80 Ks of no cornering, pretty much stuck in that same position for 80 Ks. How do you think the athletes are going to cope? And what would you do to cope with that intense TT time?
Yeah, I mean, that came as a big surprise to me. I mean, it probably shouldn't have, because I mean, a TT bike is very different from a road bike. So it's like way different stress on your body, different muscles. And whew, yeah, it's definitely something that takes a bit to get used to. So definitely for an 80K flat course, as you said, no corners, no hills, you're just flat pairing it out, staying as aero as possible. Definitely for me, I knew that would be probably the greatest challenge of this race, because I'm just not that comfortable on a TT bike. And obviously I don't ride one. So I think for those athletes that don't spend a lot of time on a TT bike or in that position, it's going to be a real challenge, this 80K. And I know, like, when we were planning to this race, my coach and I discussed that sort of every 15 to 20 minutes, I would have to get out of the TT position, get out of the saddle, and just sort of move around, just to sort of like save my body and just kind of like, yeah, move around a little bit. So yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting sort of thing to watch and see how that affects racers, or, you know, maybe it doesn't, and I don't know, maybe it's just me.
I want to cross to you, Sid, if you've got any questions for Flora. But before you ask her anything, you know, you're on the ground speaking to these athletes. How many of them do you think sort of gave a sigh of relief when they found out that Flora wasn't actually going to be towing the start line? Because I reckon there would have been a few out there who were worried.
Yeah, I think quite a few women breathed a sigh of relief, but also were probably disappointed, because, you know, Flora's one of the best in the world over the short and the half distance, and I think people probably wanted to race her and to see. And you know, the thing about this race is having that mix of short course athletes and the long course athletes. And I guess we've lost a few of the short course athletes on the women's side, but I know I think a little bit of a sigh of relief from the women, but obviously no one wants anyone to be injured. So everyone wishes that all those athletes that aren't here through injury are going to get better, be on the racetrack again soon. And yeah, everyone does miss you, Flora, in the nice way. We wish you were here.
Oh, thanks. You guys are too nice. Very flattering.
Sid, any questions that you've particularly got for Flora? Because I've got a question, but I'd love to hear if you've got any for her. Let's put the light on her. Let's shine the spotlight on her.
I mean, this might be your question. I just want to know who her top 3 pick is.
It was my question.
Yeah, I've been asked that a few times this week. Like, so me and my friend were like, okay, who's your top 3 for the women and the men? Like, what do you think's gonna happen? So yeah, my top 3. This can be in any order, but the 3 I think will make up the podium, who I've sort of picked, are a mix of Anne Haug, Holly Lawrence, and Paula Finlay. In no particular order, I just think, and then sort of someone I'm interested to see, and I think will be in the mix because she always is Nicola Spirig.
Yep.
But again, that kind of, I put her, I guess, her in the bracket. Doesn't spend that much time on the TT bike, and I don't know how much attention is given to the detail of the aerodynamics and position and you know, whatever, because it's not her standard distance to race. But yeah, I think those 3. So now you guys have to tell me yours. Putting me on the spot like that.
Well, there was a rumor going around here in Daytona that Nicola Spirig was turning up on a road bike with clip-on aero bars, which I still think would have put Spirig in a formidable position with the caliber of athlete she is. But and I think everyone though did sort of half breathe a sigh of relief when they thought that was a rumor. However, we've now seen her on a TT bike. She is not here on a road bike, unless that was a fake picture as well, and it's all a big con. I think she is here on a TT bike.
Well, Nicola is the master of mental game, isn't she? So she could be out there messing with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Nicola Spirig, I mean, people aren't talking about it that much, but I mean, in my opinion, and Flora, you're probably going to know a little bit better than me because you've probably raced her just a few more times than what I have. I imagine any start line that Nicola Spirig is on, she's going for glory. She's a tough competitor in any situation.
Yeah, definitely, and she really likes the big races, right? I mean, we've seen that at both of the Olympics, London and in Rio, and this is one of the biggest races of 2020. So, and of course, this distance suits her. I mean, she's done great at other 70.3 over the 70.3 distance, and yeah, I mean, her swim at ITU is weak, but when you move out to long course, it becomes less of a weakness. She's an incredibly strong rider and an incredibly strong runner. So, yeah, it'll be really interesting. But yeah, there's a few other factors that come to play with the long course racing. As I said, aerodynamics. You want to be as efficient as possible. The nutrition is a way more important. Yeah, not getting a drafting penalty. I mean, geez. So many, like, yeah, more things to think about. Negotiating that 20-meter gap. Oh, my goodness.
It's a big gap as well. Sid, have you ever raced in a 20-meter drafting race?
I have, but normally I'm nowhere near the pack and I'm on my own anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I've got a question just in from Jordan, and she has said, Flora, who do you think will be in the lead swim pack? Because I guess in long distance racing, we always talk about Lauren Brandon, Lucy Charles as our kind of top 2 in the long course racing. But we've got some short course women racing. Who do you think is going to come out in that lead swim pack?
I don't know. I kind of imagine it might be Lauren Brandon off by herself. I mean, she's a phenomenal swimmer. It'll be interesting to see if Holly can stay with her. That would sort of be my next go-to. And then maybe a smaller pack of people, maybe like Paula Finlay. And then, I don't know, it would be interesting to see where Nicola and Anne Haug come out of the water, because they're two. If they have good swims, then I think that's really going to change the dynamic of the race pretty quickly. So I don't, yeah.
So I
don't know.
I'm gonna jump in here. I think it's gonna be a fight off for the first out of the water between Lauren Brandon and Lucy Hall. Lauren Brandon, if you are still watching
yes,
this,
Lucy
my
Hall.
money's on Yeah, Lauren Brandon, if you're still watching this, my money's on you, so get your ass in gear. But yeah, I mean, I think I'd have loved to see in this race the matchup of having Lauren Brandon, Lucy Hall, Lucy Charles Barkley, Jess Limouth. I think that would have been a really exciting swim pack, and I think they could have done some real damage to the rest of the field. Obviously, two of those athletes aren't here, and I kind of feel that I think you like the same as Flora. I think Holly Lawrence has a good chance if there's a few of those women at the front, but Holly can probably latch on to the feet of one of those, and I have a feeling it could turn out to be a bit of an ITU race where it just gets strung out, and actually there might not be any there might not be any splits, and it might just be that those swimmers like the Paula Findleys and like the Nicolas can like get on the feet of that person in front, and they're all just in that chain, and hopefully Lauren and Lucy are really making them work hard from the front.
Yeah, absolutely. We just had a question actually, and I mean, I don't know if you can answer this, but are there any women who are not racing on a TT? I would suggest no, but someone's just asked the question.
I haven't seen anyone. Like I said, there was a rumor that Nicola was not on a TT bike, and there was a rumor that when Georgia Taylor Brown was racing, she was going to be on a road bike, but she's not here. And as far as I'm aware, we've seen Nicola's on a TT. I wasn't at the track session today, so I haven't seen. But I haven't seen anyone on a road bike apart from the odd kind of support crew that have been riding around with their athletes or the media guys. But everyone's been very much tucked in some. There's been some very aggressive, but I guess tiny aero positions when you think of that front force to the wind.
Sorry, Gareth, who actually asked that question, just corrected his question and said, have never raced on a TT bike, but who are racing here, which is a great question. I don't know the answer to that, but pretty much based on what we were saying with some of the ITU women who unfortunately aren't racing, I would say that there'd be a few of those women who would never have raced on a TT bike before.
Yeah, I think most of the women that we've got racing, I don't think there's any pure ITU racers left. I think most have done a 70.3. I'm sure I'll be corrected on that if I'm wrong. But yeah, and I think most have, since they knew they were coming to this race, have managed to get hold of TTs and at least been practicing to some. They might not have raced, but I think they've definitely been on them.
Yeah. Flora, before we let you go, it's interesting because December that's a very long season for short course athletes to be racing in December, as you sort of alluded to at the start of this chat. But there haven't been many races, apart from a lot of people racing on Zwift. From your point of view, and I know how much you loved the Zwift series, Flora. From your point of view, how do you think they've been preparing for this? It's a tough ask. We are talking about how this is the biggest race of the year, and it is, and it's super exciting, but we haven't seen many athletes racing in real life and are now all coming together. How do you think they've prepared differently for this?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You can say, call your top three or say who you think is going to do well or lead out of the water, but everyone's been in different circumstances this year because of some have had restricted pool access. Some have been in severe lockdowns and not being able to leave their house. Others haven't been able to travel. Others haven't done a single race in a year. Others have been able to race. So everyone's kind of coming in here with like totally different buildups from normal. Whereas, leading up to a big race, you would have done a few races. It would have been a lot smoother. You wouldn't have had to jump through hoops to get to the race. So that really just adds another variable to race day and everyone's performance. So I don't know. That just kind of like adds to the excitement, I suppose, of the race. But yeah, I think in terms of short course racers racing in December, I agree. At first, I was like, no way can I do a race in December. But then I thought about it. I only started racing in September. So if you think about the actual season, it's pretty short. So it would have only been my 4th race of the year. And for me personally, I don't need to do a race next year to qualify for the Olympics. Like I've solidified that. So my big goal is July. So doing a race in December for me allowed time to have a bit of a break and then a full build up for July. So it wasn't much of an issue. Whereas perhaps other short course racers that were going to race haven't really solidified team selection and perhaps have more focus earlier on in the year in April, May, which then could have maybe impacted decision to race in December or not. And yeah, just so many things going on that, 2020 has just been a crazy year.
Understatement of the year. Sid, have you got any more questions for Flora before we let her go?
How's the knee? How's the rehab? How's that going?
That's all feeling pretty good. Thankfully, it came around pretty quickly, but just kind of when I got back to Boulder and I just tried to do a week of training, it just didn't feel quite right, and I just wasn't comfortable pushing straight away, given how much next year means with the Olympics. I just was like, I don't want to push myself too much this year. I could really feel it's taken more than I perhaps thought it did. So, but yeah, I'm okay. I'm taking my break. At first I was super sad not to race, but now I feel so far away from fitness and all of that I can enjoy watching the race on Sunday. I mean, kind of. I'll still wish I was there, but
Yeah. I have one more question as well. Sorry. Have you found a bakery in Boulder that is good as La Punctuale in Girona?
I know. I actually made a point of not going anywhere because I was like, nothing will live up to La Punctuale. But then today I found a place and it's just outside of Boulder in Longmont, which is, you never really go there, but there's this bakery there. And as I was like driving, I went for a little fun swim with a friend today. I was leaving swimming, eating this massive chocolate chip cookie that I'd bought at this bakery. And I'm like, yep. There's some perks of not racing, being in Daytona right now, preparing for a massive race. So I'm just eating all these baked goods from this bakery. But I do miss La Punctuale.
I subscribe to your theory as well, Flora. I haven't been fit for about 3 years, so I don't miss racing either. So I feel like we're on the same page, exact same page.
Yeah, same.
Flora, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, and your unique insights. I'm sure we'll be chatting to you over the weekend via the social media platforms as we witness this big event. You take care, have an amazing break, and what start line do you think we'll see you on, hoping that the world is in some kind of normality next year?
Good question. I think if all goes well over the next few weeks, I would like to open my season with the 70.3 South Africa and East London, like I did the start of this year. So I better get on that TT bike so I can not have a massive blow up on the 90K bike. But and then let's hope there's a normal WTS season and Olympics and everything else.
Fingers crossed. Thank you so much. We'll catch up again with you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, mate. See you later.
Thanks for it.
All right, there you have it, guys. That was Flora Duffy. I know she's disappointed not to be racing, and I say it, I'm a massive fangirl of Flora. I love the way she races. Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's something about a woman who really, really knows how to handle a bike. Like, she's just such an impressive athlete. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she is. And, I got a bit of an insight into her training and stuff because she was in Girona for a bit, albeit in kind of restricted conditions that we were. And I was super excited to watch her race and just have that proper mix in with everyone else. And, you know, and maybe this course is a bit different. It's not maybe as technical as her skills would show, but just she is a racer and she has that power. And I know she'd be able to like be on that aero bars and she'd be in the front of the swim and she's got that run. So I think it just would have been super exciting to watch. But, you know, and I think, you know, she's right. It's the Olympics is that big goal, and we hope that she gets fit again and healthy and is in full flow. Like we saw that, you know, the couple of the World Cup races that she did, we saw the form that we know she's capable of. And I think she's only going to come back even better next year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And she's smart in her off season as well. Like she, you know, it's a tough decision not to race, obviously, but bigger picture and obviously the Olympics and everything next year. She seems to make some really smart decisions. Sid, I do want to delve into more because we've barely scratched this, and I think we kind of got away with talking to Flora about who our picks were. We kind of,
I know, totally skirted it.
Threw her under the bus and then got away with it. But I'm not letting you get away with it because I know you know this field inside and out. We're going to go through it, but before we do, folks, if you do enjoy the content that we produce here at Witsup, please consider becoming a Witsup Patreon member. We'll leave a link in the comments. I'm going to throw the link up on the screen as well right now. It'll just help us to continue bringing you guys some great content. Sid, let's start with your top three, and we'll go the soft way in no particular order.
In no particular, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, firstly, what I was going to say, it's been amazing to be here. Obviously, none of us have raced this year, so suddenly all these athletes are coming together, and there's been a real buzz again about just the athletes are so grateful to have the opportunity to race. It's awesome for me because, like, having written about a lot of them through Witsup, I'm now starting to see faces to names that I'm writing about. However, the hard thing is when you are wearing a mask, and I'm trying to find where I put mine now so I can see, it is really hard to recognize people. And especially when it's like a mask plus sunglasses, and it's kind of like, I should know this person, I don't. And then Belinda's here at Granger as well, and we were out on the track when they were practicing yesterday and like trying to spot their bikes and who and what air, and I was like, yes, I know that. And I was actually quite pleased that I could recognize quite a few of the women from their aero positions and their bikes. However, I'm digressing from the question, and I know you're going to ask. So I actually am not too dissimilar to Flora. So I do think Holly Lawrence is up there, and I think Paula Findlay as well. Paula was is defending champion from Challenge Daytona. She raced here and won last year. I think she just looks in fantastic shape. I think she's a racer. I was talking to some of the other girls. I think they're quite scared of Paula Findlay as well. I think from what they've seen. I think this course is a great opportunity for Holly Lawrence as well. And I think she's raring to go. I would say as well, someone like Nicola Spirig is a little bit of an unknown, but you can never write her off. And I think she's had a little bit less media attention around the race, perhaps. Yes, Suhata, I am trying to memorize. We were going through trying to memorize it. I was trying to tell Belinda, I was like, this is this bike and this is a kit and this is it for the women. Men, I have no chance on. But you know, there's actually so many women. It's, you know, you look at any world championship and there's always a few women that just come out of, I'm not going to say nowhere because they're here and they deserve to be here, but come out and just have one of those performances. And, you know, a lot of women haven't raced this year, so we have no idea what shape they're in, but also they haven't maybe had the opportunity to just get rid of those cobwebs. So if I flip that, I think Amelia Watkinson is probably I don't think she's a dark horse. I don't know what you'd call her, but I think she's a contender. She's had lots of races this year, but not too many that she's fatigued. I think she means she's just in fantastic shape and she's been racing, so she's in that mentality. So I really think Amelia is one to watch.
Same.
Another one I'm interested in, and I'm going now more than the top 3 because that narrows it down for me and it's too hard. I think Kat Matthews from the UK is a real dark horse. People maybe know her a little bit because she won Ironman Florida a few weeks ago on US soil, but she's a pretty new pro. She's only in her second year. She had 3 race wins this year at 7.3 Talon, Outlaw X in the UK, and then that Ironman Florida. She's also, she was the national 100-mile TT champ in the UK this year. So she is ridiculously aero position and she can hold it. And I just think she's going to be exciting to watch because for me, and if she's listening, not that I'm going to tell her what to do, but she's got nothing to lose because she's coming in pretty new and it's her first real, she did race 70.3 worlds in Nice, but again, still as a very new pro. But this year she's got some race results, but she's still not had that chance to shine on that big stage. And I think she's really, really looking to do that. So I think she would probably be another one that I think might ruffle some feathers. Maybe I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I feel like she's potentially one of those athletes who has really flourished in these COVID times because she's had time to continue to improve. I remember talking to Nikki Bartlett about it, and it's an opportunity to, really hone in on those weaknesses that you may or may not have. And instead of just constantly having to race and travel the globe, it's kind of stay still and focus.
I think could definitely be up there and ruffling a few of those big names is Nikki Bartlett, and I'm obviously being very biased towards the Brits here, but they are a big part of the field, and I am gonna actually, I'll tell you, we were doing photo shoots for the PTO the other day, and one of the photo shoots was with your national flag, and of course they gave me the Union Jack, which is great, and that is my first to and through. But then I said, do you have an Aussie and a Kiwi flag? And they were like,
this is just a little bit mental.
And so I ended up, I think I'm the only one that has a photo with 3 flags wrapped around me. That was quite fun. But going back, Nikki Bartlett, she's been another one. She had a breakout year last year, winning Ironman Lanzarote and 70.3 Dunleary. And she's just gone from strength to strength this year. And she's been one of those that she's kept setting goals for the year or a goal race for the year. And it's got to like a few days out or a week out and the race was cancelled. And then she set another one. So she's had this kind of roller coaster of a year, but heck, she has not faltered or wavered, and she is so strong and in such good shape, and she is so excited to be here. If she doesn't feature kind of on Sunday, which I think she will at some point, I think she will. Her and Kat, watch out for the next few years. They're going to be really, really hard, really good athletes.
Yeah. I love that you say that Nikki's excited to be there. I think Nikki's excited to do anything. I don't think I've met a person who just loves life as much as Nikki Bartlett. She just is so full of energy. D. O'Ray, I think, sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly, has just said, I think Jodie Stimson could also pull out a good race, but Paula Finlay looking like she could have the fitness to hammer it. Jodie is another one who, I guess, she was injured for a bit, but she did have a crack at the half distance race, and she was shoulder to shoulder with Holly Lawrence for a big part of that race. And I remember doing an interview with her afterwards, and I was like, how is that? Like, Holly Lawrence is no slouch, and I imagine she learnt a lot from that opportunity.
Yeah, I think, Jodie again, I'm not saying dark horse because she's not. We all know how good she is. But probably just she has done some half distance races and she's done very well at them. But again, with this year, you just don't know what form she's in. I've heard a few rumors from the UK camp again that if she's on form and in form, she's definitely a threat and can really be one to challenge up there. And then someone else is similar, Lisa Norden. Like, she's highlighted on my list. Yeah. I think she's probably, I know someone put a question about who's a sleeper who maybe people aren't talking about. I think if you look at Lisa Norden's another one that's raced this year. She raced She's Swedish national time trial champion. She raced at the UCI World Champs in the TT and the road bike. She won the pushing limits triathlon and another 70.3, which escapes me at the moment. But and she can, she's silver medal at the Olympics to Spirig. Wouldn't it be great if we saw those two running down the finish line again, neck and neck for the race, had a rematch, and who might come out then. So she's another one. I just think there could be not much space between the top women.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I also think because it's kind of go hard or go home at this event because we haven't had many races that we might see some massive blow-ups because people are, you just have to push hard from the get-go. There could be some implosions as well. I'm going to call one of my oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say as well, one thing that people might not realize is it actually can get really windy on the track. So I think a lot of people expect, because it's a track, they think, and there's a big stand. Well, the stand's only down one side, and it is huge, but it's only down one side, and it's 4K. So it's actually, the stats of how many football pitches you can get inside Daytona is just ridiculous. So it actually does pick up the wind quite a lot. And so with it being a track, there are going to be sections where they potentially could have a really strong headwind. And then obviously you're going to have that tailwind and stuff like that. But that might actually play into the race and have a big factor. We're talking with someone the other day, and it's 20-meter drafting, but actually the way the lap is, a lot of the time you're kind of going around a curve. So actually that 20-meter drafting, you're not necessarily directly behind someone at any one point. There might be a short section on the back straight, the front straight's on a bit of a curve as well. So actually, it's not like, I don't know, I'm interested to see whether actually it might break up a little bit and then add in some wind, which might just cut those 20-meter gaps open a bit. And that's going to be quite interesting to see. But yeah, sorry, I jumped in there because I got too excited.
No, that's okay. I'm going to call one of the sleepers. Jordan's beat me to it. Jackie Herring. And I call her a sleeper. And we actually talked about this on our podcast that we did with her, is that she just continually seems to fly under the radar. I don't know. Maybe it's got something to do with her social media in that she's not out there all the time promoting herself as a pro athlete. I don't know. I just feel like she flies under the radar quite a lot, but is a very successful half-distance athlete.
Yeah. I think she's probably busy looking after her two kids than posting on social media and then trying to fit training in around that and Zwift racing. Yeah, I think Jackie Herring as well, like could very well be up there. She's just pretty solid across the board. Like her bike has improved so much, and I think she does a lot of. Obviously, we've ordered a lot of Zwift, but she's normally I was actually talking to her today, and unfortunately Meredith Kessler isn't here racing. But Jackie's quite sad because like normally she relishes that battle because they kind of swim together, and then she knows that Meredith just goes all out on the bike, and she really likes that kind of racing. So I think that Jackie in this race could be a one to watch because it is going to be on from the gun, and Meredith might not be there, but I'm sure she's going to find someone who she can have that battle and push each other around as they go.
Yeah, definitely. Gareth Reese has just asked, how hard do you think they'll be policing the drafting? And also, do you know how it works? Because, I know 4K is quite big, but will they just have motos going around as well? Or will it be easy to spot? Or, I don't know, it's Daytona. Will they have a helicopter and laser beams to get people when they're drafting? I don't know.
So, I think the drafting is going to be policed. I have to admit, I missed the bit at the briefing when they said about whether it is going to be. I'm assuming there's going to be officials on motorbikes going around, or I think it's motorbikes. But the other thing about Daytona, and I was lucky to have a tour around it last year, but also this year, is they have cameras on every section of the track, and they have a control room where they can see every inch of the track. So I'm not saying that's where they're going to control the drafting from, because that's kind of different, but they can see everything. And I think, you know, you're able to see as the athletes come past and stuff like that. But you know, it's a big race. There's a lot of money on the line. There's a lot at stake. You know, now with the coverage being out on NBC and the live streaming, there's going to be a lot of eyes watching the race. There's a lot of eyes watching this race anyway for a lot of reasons. So I know, and my hope is that I think they will be doing things to the T.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for that. Just in terms of the broadcasting, we'll leave a link which gives everyone a bit of an idea of how they can watch it on TV across the globe, because the PTO sent that out early this morning. And then there's also, you can just sign up on the PTO website as well. So we'll leave a link at the end of this chat. I think here in Australia, it's Foxtel will be able to watch it, but it is 2 a.m. here in Melbourne Monday morning. So it looks like I'll be having an all-nighter.
I was gonna say, get up to watch it. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be exciting. And like, I'm just fascinated. Like, the production team here, it's just mental. I would say, if anyone, like, go onto some of the social media of the athletes that are racing and look at their stories. And if any of them have posted about the photo shoot they've had with NASCAR production, there's this like gold curtains like showering behind them, and the media that the PTO is doing, and all the stuff that the PTO is putting out on Instagram, the unbreakable stories and all of that. And then the fact that it's actually like the NASCAR team are pulling this production together. You know, they've got two incredibly like famous and good commentators on the American side, and I met them last night, and now I've realized as I'm saying this, I'm digging myself a hole, because I've got one of them is Rowdy Gaines, who I think is the 3 times Olympic swimmer for the US, and the other guy. But anyway, we've got our very own Belinda Granger trying to control the two guys in the studio, and tell them a little bit about triathlon, tell them a bit about the athletes. And then I think we've got several people out on course as well, which they're going to be flipping to. But I'm just really excited to see what NASCAR and this team can bring to the sport. And look, I'm, you know, there's a lot of criticism about, is triathlon exciting to watch, and is it going to be exciting because it's laps around a track? Well, you know, who knows? We don't know, but this is an exciting opportunity that we have to get the sport out onto the world scene. And is it going to be traditional coverage? I don't think so. Is it going to offend some people? I'm sure it is. You know, it's going to probably have a very American NASCAR feel to it. But hey, I think that could be pretty refreshing and new and something different to watch.
I think that's the key. Something new and refreshing is what the sport needs. So let's have a crack. And I think what Sid just said, which is really important, is if you're a triathlon fan and you want to see this sport grow and expand, you need to be tuning in to watch this coverage, because the sport needs eyeballs on it. And from a purely commercial point of view, the more eyeballs on it, the more the people with the money say, "Yay, this is great." So that's the part that we can all play as spectators and fans of the sport. Make sure you are tuning in wherever you are.
Yeah, and that's what I say again, like, I think actually, you know, the PTO, if you look at their Instagram page, they've actually been putting out some really great videos about some of the athletes and some really good content. The website with the athlete bios is really great from the PTO. But then go to the athletes pages, go and follow the athletes on Instagram, like even the ones that maybe you don't know as much or you're not as familiar with, because the more people we can get, you know, yes, we've got those people who love the sport and we're watching, and I know a lot of them are, you know, tuning in now and watching, and thank you, but we've got to show that support by following the other women, by getting other people to follow the women, by getting people to tune in to the live coverage, to follow Witsup, to follow the other media outlets, to follow the photographers as well. You know, make sure you're following their profiles as well, because they help us as athletes have that voice out there.
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't agree more. Sid, we're going to start wrapping this up, but I do actually have 3 more names that I just wanted to mention and wanted to get your thoughts on. Let's see if we can do like a Sid Slam version of trying to go through these 3 names. Completely throwing you under the bus here. Three names that we haven't really mentioned that I just kind of highlighted. Heather Jackson, Laura Phillip, Emma Palin.
And Annie Haug, I'm going to throw in there as well.
Oh yes,
I'm
sorry,
just writing
we
those
did.
down while it.
Yeah, we did mention Annie
I
Haug with Flora, so we certainly have not forgotten Annie Haug. And I just started a poll to find out what the people think, and I've selected Annie Haug, Paula Finlay, Holly Lawrence, or someone else, and I'll post the poll results in just a few moments. So thoughts on those three women?
So what's on those two? So let's go. Heather Jackson. Yes, I think. I'm a massive fangirl of Heather Jackson. So I think she's an awesome racer. I love watching her race. I think she may struggle a little bit in the swim, and then be chasing from behind the field. And whether this type of course is right for her to have her strong bike as she does, she'll have her strong bike as she does, and she'll have a run, but whether she's got the opportunity to move up through the field as much as she does in a long course race, I don't know. But yeah, I think she's always going to be in the mix because she's just fantastic to race, and she'll be racing hard. I did kind of speak to her briefly yesterday and say, maybe we should put a gravel bike on there halfway through or something like that, or send you across. Let's go Emma Palin. Yeah, I mean, Emma Palin, one of the best 70.3 athletes, half distance athletes in the world, has done a few races this year. She's been killing it on Zwift Race, which I know isn't real life, but it still shows just how strong she is at cycling and running. Again, maybe slightly, and I say weaker, and it's not weak at all, a slightly slower swim because of the caliber of swimmers we've got, might put it at that slight disadvantage. But if we have a group of swimmers around that Heather Jackson, that Emma Palin, that come out together and then can work really well together on the bike, they might be able to, as a group, kind of move up through the field. And again, if we've got that wind conditions and stuff like that, breaking up the front pack. So, and get Emma on the run, and she's just one of the best in the business. She's beautiful to watch running. Talking about that, Laura Phillip, yeah, I mean, I was watching her go around. She's got the lovely new Canyon bike. She was looking incredibly smooth on the bike today. We know her run is one. We've seen Emma and Laura battle it out in 7.3 worlds before, and I think her swim is definitely up there as well. So she could definitely be one of those, if she can get on the toes of that sort of those front few girls in the swim and sort of be clinging onto that front pack. Get her on the bike. She'd probably say to you that she's better on a hilly course. She'd probably say that the hillier courses suit her bike skills, but hey, she was looking pretty good out here on the track the other day.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, there is one more athlete who we haven't actually mentioned. Sarah Crowley.
There's loads that haven't mentioned, and they need to be mentioned. Sorry, who was that? I missed.
And Laura's absolutely right. There are loads of athletes that need to be mentioned, which we will run out of time here, but you need to jump onto the Witsup website, because Laura has featured every single athlete on this start list. So make sure you do head on over to Witsup. But Sarah Crowley is another person who we haven't actually mentioned until now, and I've highlighted her. I personally don't see her on the podium, but see her in the mix. That's my call.
Yeah, I've flipped a lot in the last few days. She's I can't place her because I think she's one of the most fearsome competitors I think out there, and I have so much admiration and again fangirl for how she races. Like, just that
it's mongrel.
She's a smart racer, but she's just like, she will not give up, and she'll race hard, and she wants to make everyone else suffer. She seems really relaxed this week. She's which I think is a good sign. Like, let me explain it, or say to people as well, like, everyone's excited to be here this week. It's a massive race. There's a lot of focus on it. It's the biggest race of the year, obviously one of the only races of the year. There is a lot that the athletes are being asked to do. There's been a lot of media on them. They were all right. They were all asked to get here Monday, Tuesday, just because they've had so much going on. And there's there's a lot of different parties involved. You've got Challenge Daytona and Challenge Family. You've got the PTO, and there's a lot of coordinating and people pulling them in different directions. And we've done our best to kind of keep it as smooth and easy for them. But they have had a lot to do. And like I said, with the COVID precautions as well, with the sort of the doping testing and the things like that we're doing, there's other things that are being trialed at this race as well. And I do feel sorry for the athletes. They do keep getting bombarded by emails or messages from us and on the whiteboards that we have in the hotels. So I think people have to know that this has been a massive week for them, especially with no racing all year. They've come here, everyone's excited, but it's been huge. So it's very much has that Kona feel of like who has managed themselves the best through the week and being pulled in different directions and getting the training done. Sarah is a pro at that. Sarah Crowley knows how to manage. And like I said, my experience from like just the bits of interactions when I've seen her around the place, she's been relaxed. She's been laughing. She's been, as she is the ultimate professional, she's been very accommodating of some of our requests where we've kind of given a very short notice, and kind of like I've winced as I've given her this news and asked her, and she has been like, yeah, it's no problem at all. Happy days, I'll do it. Which she's, yeah, that's a massive kudos for me. And I think her going into this race on the outside looking very calm and relaxed, but I think she's fired up to get really stuck in.
Yeah, and it's I find Sarah a hard one to gauge as well, because in Cairns we didn't see her at her best, and she still had a podium finish, obviously, but she certainly wasn't in her tip-top shape. So, you know, we've had a few months to, or we, the royal we, she's had a few months to really build on that, has spent some time in the States. It hasn't been a fly into the States at the last minute. So, yeah, hopefully she's been able to ease her way into everything. So yeah, super interesting. This race is going to be the gift that keeps on giving, I think. I do want to ask one more question, Sid. Do you over a 4K lapped course, do you think anyone could potentially get lapped?
I do actually. Maybe not once they're on the course, but I think the gap between the front swimmers to the back swimmers could be the time it takes to go round a lap. And so that's where things like this lap board is actually quite good, because not only you see someone's name and you see what lap they're on. So if you can see people ahead of you can actually see, if they're on the board, you can actually see what lap they are on. So you'll be able to see whether they're ahead of you, they're a lap ahead of you, or they're a lap behind you. So I do think there is the potential. I know with the men's race, they were saying like that could be a real issue. I mean, this track's so big. There's no issue when there's plenty of space to get round people. So that's not a problem. But I do think, yeah, there is that there is that potential for the front swimmers to be out of the water and on their bike and almost and through a lap, or almost through a lap before the back swimmers come in.
Yeah, potentially. Sid, let's wrap this up. Just remind people that this is a $1.15 million prize purse. First place goes home with $100K. Is that right? I think.
Now you've put me on the spot. I have no idea. All I know is that it's graded. It's graded from 1 to 20, and then from 21 to the rest of the field, everyone will get something when they cross that line.
Yep. So
and I'm pretty sure that. I'm pretty sure that even that 1 to 20 is more than Kona is 1 to 10.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, definitely. So every single pro athlete will go home with a bit more money in their pocket, which is fantastic. It is a 2K swim, an 80K bike, an 18-kilometer run. That's 100Ks all up. We're very excited. Sid, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's hectic over there, and I guess
I'm actually sweating because tomorrow is the pros get the chance to do a hot lap on the racetrack. So that's when they get to be in a NASCAR car, getting driven around. And I'm meant to be at the hotel putting the sign-up sheets there now. And I'm like, not there. But hopefully they're all watching this and they know that I'm here and not there.
Oh,
And
actually,
I'm pretty
so-
sure I'm gonna look at my phone and see Belinda going, "Where are you? Where are the sheets?
Sorry,
They're
Belinda.
coming. I'll be there."
She's coming any
Be
second
there.
now. Quickly before I let you go, with 50% of the votes, people think Holly Lawrence will be the winner, which is it's a good bet. I'm going to go Paula. I'm going to go reigning champion. Let's put money on the line. Well, not money on the line. Put it on the line. Who's going to be your winner, Sid?
I'll go Holly then. I'll go with the Brit. If you've gone Paula, I'll go Holly.
Okay, done. Mate, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your time. I know it is very busy, and everyone, stay tuned on Instagram stories. We've got Sid on the ground at the PTO Champs in Challenge Daytona, and she'll just be adding to our stories, giving you a bit of a behind the scenes whenever she can. So thanks, Sid, for that, and we'll be checking in again with you soon.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, Steph.
Thanks, guys.